Hi, I'm Chris. Welcome to a brand new episode of OCD Geeks.
And I'm Jack. Hi guys, welcome back.
So, for those of you who are new to our channel, a huge welcome. We are the OCD Geeks as well as Aki Geeks podcast and YouTube channels.
We usually cover here on OCD Geeks topics such as language learning, cinema, movies, TV series, readings, and much more.
While Aki Geeks is our podcast dedicated to gaming and technology. As promised, we would like to chat about Sonic related to the movie's franchise.
Of course, Chris.
So for those of you guys that didn't listen to the episode on Aki Geeks dedicated to Sonic, we chatted about the latest game, Sonic Frontiers. You're welcome to check out that one as well if you are interested into gaming, or maybe you are around our age and you are kinda nostalgic between the end of the 80s and the early 90s.
Speaking about the movie, we can say that the first movie of Sonic the Hedgehog was, produced back in 2020 and directed by Jeff Fowler. It's a Japan-American co-production. There are such big movie screens figures like Jim Carrey, Ben Schwartz, James Marsden, and Tika Sumpter.
So guys, if you are a long-time listener, you totally know that I have plenty of knowledge regarding the gaming world, but the expert related to movies and cinema in general is Jack. But even a newbie like me regarding cinema, I'm totally familiar with Jim Carrey because, of course, growing up in the 90s, one of the favorite movies was The Mask, or a bit later, The Truman Show.
Yeah, of course, Jim Carrey has entered into the collective imagination thanks to many of his movies. The most similar to Sonic that we can remind here is, of course, The Mask. We speak about animated figures and fantasy characters, Chris.
Yeah, if you haven't watched the movie, Jim Carrey here is kinda the bad guy, Dr. Eggman. If you are familiar with the ability and the expressivity about Jim Carrey's face, you will totally find this great skill here as well.
Yeah, Chris, somehow Jim Carrey is so fitting in the roles of villains for this kind of unstable characters, neurotic in their personalities.
Some movies have these bad characters that it's kinda impossible to relate to, but in Jim Carrey's case, he's the bad character, but also you cheering up for him as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great entertainer. His expressions and faces can vary in the blink of a second between positive emotions into negatives, so you can really expect anything from him. And actually, I think the first Sonic movie was quite successful because, the income that was registered overcame the record of Pokemon Detective Pikachu, so it was quite an achievement.
You're totally right, Jack. Actually, the first Sonic movie, so the 2021, broke the record in the box office regarding, a movie that is inspired by a video game saga. And what is even more interesting is the fact that the sequel also broke the previous record that was held precisely by the first Sonic movie.
Oh yeah, that's great, Chris. I didn't know this last information.
Also, if you're wondering about the future related to Sonic and movies, there is also the update that a brand new third installment into the series is expected for 2024, basically Sonic the Hedgehog 3, while there will be a spin-off series dedicated to Knuckles that is expected as an exclusive on Paramount Plus. You know, Jack, that Knuckles is the red character that is kinda the enemy of Sonic.
Yeah, of course, all the original characters of Sonic, you can tell that they are so cute, but actually in these movies they are showing their wild nature because they're also very dangerous. As you can see, the Sonic universe is spreading even more, and the legacy is like never ending, right, Chris?
For sure. So for example, I was talking about the Paramount Plus exclusive series dedicated to Knuckles, while on Netflix you can find several old Sonic series, as well as a brand new Sonic Prime series series.
That's really surprising how many products are coming out right now and how successful is this new waves of, this revival of Sonic.
We were talking about that also on Aki Geeks, our favorite characters related to gaming. Of course, Sonic has for Sega, as well as Mario for Nintendo. Seeing them with a brand new, I would say, audience of younger generation, it's kinda cool to see our favorite characters such as Sonic as well as Mario growing up together with us. On the one hand, you have the generation that grew up between the 80s and the 90s like us, and on the other hand, you have the newest generations that maybe were not familiar with Sonic at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't have said that, but the truth is Sonic is actually crossing generations. It seems the product survives the passing of time.
For sure. It's just like adjusting to nowadays standards of video game technology related to Sonic Frontiers, as well as, of course, all the cinematography and the special effects that are really well done in both Sonic movies.
Yeah, that's right, Chris. It's totally true.
This kind of level of mixing between animation and real actors that, for example, the first Space Jam was first experienced with this kind of style. Of course, what technology can do nowadays is on another level compared to just 20 or 30 years ago.
Yeah, it always fascinated me somehow, this style of mixing animation and real life characters.
I really enjoyed both the first Sonic movie as well as the second one. If you haven't watched it, I would totally recommend you, both if you belong to our generation, as well as, for example, if you are a parent and you would like to watch a really fun movie with your kids. Sonic is kinda the perfect mix of a movie that both an adult as well as a kid can enjoy. Of course, with different style of references that if you happen to be an old-time Sonic fan, you can relate to.
Sure, Chris, it's the perfect product for a Sunday evening together with the family.
Sounds great. So Jack, still talking about TV series and movies, we started to watch a product that is actually a Peacock original.
Sure, Chris, and we're talking about The Undeclared War. That is a British thriller, the television miniseries. It was aired first in June 2022, and I was expecting a lot from it because, of course, it's a British product and it's really condensed in 6 episodes. So I hoped really that the episodes were high quality.
I didn't complete the whole series, but I'm about episode 5. Keep in mind that the total number of episodes is just 6, so I'm almost reaching the final part. Without spoil anything, it's kinda this thrilling atmosphere related to tech, defense, and the hacking. The main character, she has some kind of abilities, so when she sees, for example, a code on the screen, she's actually able to immerse herself into the digital world and to see this coding that is so complicated into another perspective. She's able to spot secrets or details that maybe other people cannot.
As soon as she gets the job, actually it's very hard for her to fit in the company.
Again, without going into spoiler, in the very first episode, this young girl was able to pass a really hard exam in order to enter the section that in UK is responsible about the cyber defense. So the very first day that she started, there was a major cyber attack involving pretty much all the internet in the UK. From there, the plot takes off, and you can expect even more thrilling atmosphere and plot twist in the second and later episodes.
Sure, and actually it's staged in 2024, so it's really near future. We are talking about a reality which is quite likely. Sarah Parvin, which is the main character, according to me, is really well portrayed by the young actress Hannah Kalik Brown. I really appreciated her style and her acting overall. She really gave voice also to a wide range of emotions. She has a difficult social background. As soon as you will start watching, guys, you will understand what I'm talking about.
This this one, unlike Sonic, is not a series for kids or maybe young teenagers. I would recommend for an adult audience.
I don't know, guys, if you know the director and writer of this TV series, which is Peter Kuzminski. I watched quite famous movies by him, White Oleander. He's also famous for other films such as The Promise and Stay. He's quite involved in political issues and topics.
Yeah, that's what I like about CD Geeks, is that I have no idea, as I said, about movie, TV series, directors, and the name of actors and actresses. You are the expert on that.
Well, Chris, sometimes I cite a movie, but I don't have that extended memory.
You don't have much time for the big marathon style, for example, the Lost ones, that basically in one evening you can watch 3 or 4 episodes in a row. I'm sure that it's an experience that our listeners as well can totally relate to.
Sure, of course. Still speaking about the series, I actually found many similarities with another one which we've covered as a topic before, Chris. I'm talking about Severance.
Yeah, sure. That one was on Apple TV Plus.
That's right, Chris, and that is the one. Actually, for example, I appreciated the parallel and the similarities that there are. For example, we're talking about working and a job atmosphere which is quite detached from the tangible reality in which the character has to live. The real life must be separated from the job. The job is essential for all society. On the other side, it was kind of a different situation in which characters feel more isolated, but for different reasons.
Yeah, so I would say that in both series the characters are really knowledgeable about their job, but of course, for different reasons, they found themselves involved in something way bigger than them, and that's kinda the input of the whole series.
Yes, they have to face difficulties in their families because with such involving jobs, they find themselves not having even time to care about the beloved ones. So that's another important topic.
Yeah, that's the hero journey that I'm sure we both studied in literature class, but can also totally apply into the movie and TV series world.
I think, Chris, the dystopian plot in which there is an alternate reality which might happen, it's quite similar to these new products and it's appealing for all of the viewers around the world. So that is why such products are brought on the market.
This is especially true for TV series and movies related to superheroes. Not so long ago we posted an episode related to the new game Gotham Knights that is placing itself into the DC world of comics. If you are interested into this game, you are totally welcome to check out Aki Geeks for that. Since I played the game, I just wanted to keep watching something related to the DC universe. We also talked about it off the record. I started to watch a series called Superman and Lois, an original take related to the Superman journey.
That's right, Chris. Actually, I remember you suggested me to watch it a few days before. Actually, gave it a try, and I also found it very entertaining and also a non-conventional series about Superman, of course, because it's not involving the happenings in Superman's lives and in the traditional history of the superhero, but is expanding into something more.
Yeah, without going into spoilers, in the very first, I would say 2 to 3 minutes, you're going to see the story of Clark Kent from the landing on Earth from space until the moment he got married and he has teenager kids. So, it's something that I would say it's kind of spiritual successor to, for example, the well-known series Smallville.
Yes, actually, it was quite fun when I watched it that the happenings and all the story of the young Clark Kent in Smallville has been summed up in like 2 minutes.
Yes.
Maybe it's something more than that because, of course, actually, I grew up watching Smallville. So all of the seasons were quite long to watch. And every aspect of Clark Kent's adolescence was highlighted very well. And in this Superman and Lois, actually, it was so condensed that it was like they condensed my whole life in that.
Yeah, Jack, that nowadays it's so mainstream to have reboots of every superhero character, giving this little space just let you remember about the Superman story that I'm sure pretty much almost every one of us is familiar with. It's like starting a brand new series with, of course, an original plot. It's something that I really appreciated.
Yeah, and I think that the subplot of the series is also aligning that in nowadays society, part of our superheroes is actually really involved in bringing up a family, and that's really difficult, for a lot of reasons. Somehow, we must be superheroes.
Yeah, and Jack, also, that's a really good point because, interesting enough, in this series, Clark Kent has two young teenagers, and one of them suffers from anxiety and is also going to therapy and taking medicines. So it's kinda also fitting the OCD geeks vibe because it's something that us, as well as maybe some of our listeners, can relate to. Very delicate theme such as mental health is also portrayed in a mainstream superhero series. And guys, if you want to know more about this topic, way back we cover into an episode dedicated to superhero therapy that is a small self-help book. You are kinda part of a superhero journey. So if you are interested in having a small but meaningful reading, I totally recommend you to check out our previous episode as well.
It defends you and prevents you from, the downfall dynamics.
It's nothing like real therapy. Of course, if you are struggling, always our recommendation is to contact and to reach a specialist in mental health. But you can think of it as a little tool to help you a bit in your daily life.
That's right, Chris.
So, Jack, to close up this episode, I also would like to chat about music. In the past, if you are a long-time listener, we chatted about music quite a lot. You know, guys, that I play violin and a bit of electric guitar, while Jack is way more skilled with guitar than me, and he also plays piano. So, music is pretty much a passion that we shared for a very long time. When we were 15, we chatted about that in detail in one of the very first episodes of OCD Geeks. Unlike someone that maybe is really into a specific genre of music, me and I'm sure Jack as well, we appreciate different genres. For example, for me, there is like Celtic rock, Irish, as well as country, rock, rap, and of course like folk. So for Jack as well, I would say that his musical knowledge is wide as well.
Yes, I've listened to any genre back in adolescence, but also right now in adulthood. I'm not into heavy metal that much, but apart from that, I think I can cover a lot of music styles. These days, I was listening to Joy Divisions a lot, Chris.
I'm not familiar with that, Jack, actually.
Yes, they're basically playing kind of pop rock music, somehow close to also some melodies of the Smiths, for example. I'm discovering part of their discography because I've been missing a lot of their songs, so right now I'm just catching up.
You know, well, Jack, that one of my favorite band is Enter the Haggis from Toronto. Basically, they play a mix of rock as well as Celtic with many influences, so I would totally recommend to check Enter the Haggis out. But this time I would like to chat about our passion for Blink 182. If you happen to be a fan as well, they are coming with a brand new album called Edging. Of course, what is interesting about the new album is that basically Matt Skiba, that was the previous vocalist and guitar player, left the band, and the original founder of Blink 182, Tom DeLonge, basically came back to the trio. So it's quite unique after, I would say, almost 10 years.
Yeah, actually, we were not expecting that, but we cannot do anything but embracing this new reunion, which made us very happy. Of course, years have passed and things have changed, I guess, but it's still good to see that their friendship still has voice.
Yeah, and creativity. I am a long time Blink fan. I have like the signature guitar of Tom DeLonge, and again, I'm not so skillful at guitar, but basically I learn it via YouTube, just like memorizing and learning the most famous Blink songs that are actually quite fun to play on electric guitar.
Yeah, they're full of positive emotions, full of also rage. Those days when you feel punk inside yourself, you can find new energies in listening to all the Blink 182 songs.
As for now, we just listen to the single Edging on YouTube, but I'm sure it will be kinda a mix of old style as well as, of course, a new Blink style that actually I previously really appreciated with as well Matt Skiba that joined the band almost 10 years ago with the well-known album California as well as Nine.
California is one of my favorite albums ever, and I remember listening it in my car during all the summer long, every day, every tracks. In the end, when I left my car, because of course it was very old, more than 20 years, I also left my CD in there because all the tracks were, scratched and you couldn't hear them right anymore. And it was, an entire thing with the car itself.
Yeah, and I guess if you are in the market to buy a car, I'm really not sure if there are models that still have the CD player inside.
Yeah, it was quite nostalgic back then. To me, driving the car, I needed to have a CD in it.
So basically, both me and Jack were really happy to know about the world tour and so excited that the very first day that the tickets were out online to buy, I was kinda in the waiting list just to find out that in less than 1 minute it was impossible to buy one because all of them were basically sold out. Really, I'm not sure how this might be possible, and I was not so happy with that result.
Yeah, but at least we cannot say we didn't try, Chris.
Yeah, me and Jack were looking for the Italian concert since it's a world tour and only one date is related to Italy. That actually is next October. I don't know, I cannot explain that, but maybe, I don't know, like Tom or Mark and Travis are listening to OCD Geeks, we would be more than happy to have a bit of help from you in order to join the live show.
Yeah, of course, I'm sure they're waiting for us.
Anyways, it's really great to see the classical rock, pop punk as well as emo bands that were so popular the time we were in high school. Of course, Blink, Green Day, but I'm referring also to Paramore that a few months ago they did a comeback with a brand new album.
I think 2023 will be a great year for us nostalgic, Chris.
Even like watching the live event, if I'm not mistaken, it was in Texas. I've been watching the whole concert on YouTube, listening to this kind of mix between brand new songs as well as all-time classics such as, for example, Misery Business or Decode was something meaningful and nostalgic, since Paramore are also one of my favorite bands.
Yeah, I would love to see them live as well one day.
It sounds a pretty nice time for these bands coming back. In the US, there is a live event that is called When We Were Young, where all these major bands so famous in the early 2000s gathering up, playing this nostalgic concert for all time as well as new fans.
Sure, guys, are you familiar with these bands?
Actually, Jack, like several of these bands, I had the chance to watch them live. For example, Yellow Card as well as Newfound Glory, The Wonder Years, Blink, and the All American Rejects. Hearing that even Yellow Card will play again after basically they split the band about 5 years ago or something like that, it's something so meaningful. As I said, I play violin as well as the electric one, so I really enjoyed listening to Yellow Card that also have a violin in this punk rock setting.
What about you guys? Are you familiar with these bands? Are you going to the concert? Let us know, of course, which are your tastes in music and give us suggestions what to hear, which is maybe similar to those bands.
Yeah, so the best way to get in touch with us is, leave a comment in the section on YouTube, as well as reaching us directly on Instagram and Twitter at Chris_OCDGeeks, as well as Jack_OCDGeeks.
So that's all for today, guys. And we can close with our sentence.
Let them talk, our freaks.
We stay tuned on OCD Geeks.